You know how many people sent... You know how many people wrote back and were like, why did you go there? Whose idea was this? Someone wrote, I had such high hopes for Bryan. It was, it's Keebler's buddy. A1, Scott.
A1 Scott?
Yeah.
He didn't need to message me.
He's like, who sent... And Keebler, Richard messaged me. He's like, who sent you there? I was like, Bryan. He's like, no. I was like, yeah.
Look. It's been years since I've eaten there. I just remember, like, the last time I had Longhorn, it was terrible. And the last time I had Roadhouse, it was like, oh, this is actually not as bad.
Yeah, I mean, I will say,
I mean, your steak looked like...
Yeah, your steak did not look good.
It looked like ass.
Yeah.
I'll say maybe Longhorn and Outback have stepped up their game. And
Yes.
Roadhouse maybe just stayed where they were.
There was a time that Longhorn was... I wouldn't step foot on a Longhorn.
Oh, gosh,
like,
no.
It like every steak I got like had gristle in it. It was like, and it was the stuff that you were paying like $30 or $40 for.
I have no idea where to go for Outback. Hello? Dang it.
This is Texas Roadhouse.
It is Texas Roadhouse. We recording? We good?
We are in.
All right. Yeah. No more Texas Roadhouse.
No more Texas Roadhouse.
Maybe we'll get big enough and get somebody who will actually respond to us.
Look, I will admit that the steak you got looked... I said it last week. It looked like trash.
Indeed it is.
But I was comparing it to a really bad Outback experience I had a while back. And I haven't been back to any of those steakhouses in I don't know how long.
It has to be at least 10 years since I've set foot in a Outback. I think the only one I know of offhand is like at the back end of Swanee.
Yeah. And
it makes me concerned because how, when you're, because it's across the street from a Starship. I'm like, well, okay.
Go to Outback and order it Pittsburgh style. See, like you want to roll the dice.
We want it blue, really blue. Oh gosh, no. You got a good idea, bad idea?
Good idea. Recommend a steak place. Bad idea. Don't go before you recommend it.
Yeah.
like that's.
Yeah. Have you seen the good idea, bad idea that's on our homepage?
No, I haven't.
Thanks for not checking out my hard work, Bryan.
Well,
appreciate that. Truly appreciate that.
What? Hey man, I went and looked and I missed it, so I'm sorry.
If you go to our you listeners out there, maybe you do better than Bryan. If you visit thisweekinbarbecue.com, you'll see some fun stuff. And if you click the About the Show section, right below the banner that says Entertainment That Fuels You, that's catchy. Came up with it myself. You'll see our good idea, bad idea.
Okay, now I remember it.
You see it? Good idea, starting a barbecue podcast with your barbecue buddy. Bad idea, not doing it sooner. You see?
Yeah, nope, that's on me.
Yeah.
I even saw it, and I was like, that's clever, and I didn't mention it, and then I forgot it. That's so good idea. Look at the website. Bad idea, not take full notes.
Yeah, you should. I mean, your photos just splattered all around it and such. So I'm just saying, it'd be nice. We actually have to add, I'm going to go ahead and add Lee's photo underneath our photo and just be like, this is the voice you always hear.
Oh, well, this is the voice you kind of hear.
Kind of hear. Now you'll hear clearly.
Which you can hear now.
And eventually we'll probably just put a cam that way. Like, boom. Just do a
we
backdrop.
should have just like a POV, like a GoPro on my shoulder.
That would, and people can click in leave view.
Yeah.
And you can just watch. I'd love it.
We'll just run that one live 24/7.
Hey, that wouldn't be a bad idea.
That's like the all 22 NFL cam. Like when they give you the alternate like field views during like the college football playoff.
It really is. Oof. All right. So we got the good idea, bad idea. I guess it's my turn to do my thing. Yeah.
I mean, yes.
Yeah.
I did it last week actually.
That is
right?
true. You did do it last week.
Yeah, that's true. Okay.
We're getting there. Hey guys, my name is Rasheed Phillips, and welcome to This Week in Barbecue, the barbecue-focused podcast that introduces you to both the good, the bad, and everything in between in the world of barbecue, and I cannot emphasize the everything in between enough. Joining me, as always, is the amazingly bearded wonder, Mr.
Bryan Hull.
And you'll be hearing him on microphone. You won't be able to see him, but he's here. Say hey, Lee.
Hey, guys.
There it is. And we are going to bring you some great stuff. Today we have a lot of questions, a lot of questions. It may just be a Q&A episode. See what I did there? There's something coming with that, but stay tuned. But we do also have some news, the darker side of barbecue, but also the lighter side of barbecue too. You want to kick it off with some barbecue death
Death threats.
Death threats.
It's not something to joke about.
It really isn't actually. It's
yeah.
kind of weird, and the last 2 episodes has gotten me my fair share as well. But if you're feeling froggy, leap. But on that note, hit us with a hard 20.
So recently, Johnny White, Jerby Barbecue, released a video talking about sometimes the negatives of the foil boat method, which was popularized by Leroy and Lewis and also Bradley Robinson on his Chud's Barbecue page. It was originally that method was originally discovered at Friedman's. Diego Abreu was the sous chef under Evan Leroy, and so they used to foil wrap their briskets, and they would unfoil wrap them to check them during the cook. And Diego at one point forgot to close it back up, and they thought they ruined the briskets. And what they found is they got a really crunchy bark, and it rendered the fat a little bit more, and it kept the meat, the lean moist on the bottom. And so that was the birth of the foil boat method. You know, a lot of these guys know each other, and so often they'll throw shade at each other in videos.
Yeah, like fun shade, mind you. Like
Yeah.
I joke that Brian flips ribs, just fun shade. It's not serious at all.
You haven't got any death threats about being mad at me for flipping ribs, have you?
No, I'd laugh if I did for that.
Okay, all right. And so a section of, I guess, Chud's Barbecue's fans popped up and sent some very inappropriate messages, including death threats. And Bradley Robinson had to come out and distance himself from it. And that was something I asked you about in terms of fandom.
Yeah.
Like, are you responsible for your fans?
That is a very interesting question.
Because it's a weird relationship.
It is, and there's an actual title for it where, like a parasocial relationship or something. I can't remember the exact. I'll do the little Googles when the cam's on you. But there is that type of relationship that people sort of holy crap, I was right. Shout out to me. Parasocial relationships are one-sided relationships where one person extends emotional energy, interest, and time, and the other party, the person, is unaware. So that's sort of what happens with a lot of celebrities and things like that, which I am not. And they say most common parasocial relationships are most common with celebrities, organizations such as sports teams or television stars. So sports teams, for example, you know, people say like my Cowboys, they'll embed themselves in it because they're that deeply invested so that when they take a loss, they feel the devastation. When they win, they feel the pride and the joy. I think sports is definitely a route better for that type of thing, but it does span outside of the sports world. And in this situation, it expanded into the barbecue community and led to the not so good side of it because you can't control who your fans are. And a lot of the times, you're not even aware that they're there, not in a negative sense. You know, like when you have a vast following, you don't know every single person there. And if by some miracle you're able to know everyone's name, you don't know their ins and outs of their daily life, their minutia, what they like, what they're into outside of just that brief moment. So it's hard to say you're 100% responsible for your fans, but I do believe you're 100% responsible for what you put out and how you put it out to be received. So if you're putting out hateful things, and then your fans are going to jump on that. If you're putting out good things, your fans will typically push that. But when they want to skew and protect you, that's when you are responsible for going out and saying, hey guys, I appreciate this, I truly do, but that's not my character. That's not how I get down. That's not necessary. If you are a true fan of mine, like you say you are, you know this is not any way that I'd ever behave. So let's reel it in. Let's keep it civil.
And that's the last part that you mentioned is obviously what happened here.
Yeah.
And like, I think the term that people use is defense force. Have you've heard of that? Like people coming like as a defense force
Yeah.
to something.
It's like the beehive. Like, be careful what you say because they swarm.
They swarm. And really, you don't need to fight the battles for other people.
No.
Like that's the biggest thing. It's like don't go and brigade on Twitter or Facebook messages or Instagram. Don't harass people through messages, even if you don't agree with something. Like I thought the Johnny's video brought up some good points, but I also don't agree with some of the other points he brought up.
Yeah.
Like, and you know, I've used the foil boat method, and I use it completely different than when I used it. I used it for completely different reasons than what Evan Leroy and Lewis and Bradley were using it for.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, it's just there are a lot of techniques out there. No one technique is the end all be all technique of finding the how to perfect barbecue. It's an imperfect craft.
It truly is. There's no perfect way to do anything in our craft of what we do, whether it be, and I mean, let's start at the very beginning. Starting your fire. There's a million ways. Paraffin wax cubes, rolled hay, soaked butcher paper, Dorito chips, propane torch.
I've never done the Dorito chips.
Yes, there's so many ways just to do that one thing to start the fire. You can flip a switch, turn a knob. Imagine how many other ways there are, and that's the thing that I love about our craft. There's a endless amount of ways to get to a delicious result, and that's what we're all just working towards: is a enjoyable bite and having some great memories during that creation of the end result. That's it. But anyone who comes out and says this is the way to do this and the only way, can't really listen to that. This now, if they're like, this is a way to do it, there's a ton, but this is how I do it. Cool. I have a lot of ways that I like doing things, and oftentimes it switches just depending on the mood I'm in. It just depends on what rig I'm on. Perfect example, I've got to do some cooks in some very cold places this year, like really cold places. What's my dumbass doing? I'm making steaks in like 27-degree weather at 1 a.m. Why?
That just sounds fun.
It is fun, but I got to practice. Hell, this time last year, Lee and I were out in the snowstorm making a ton of porterhouse steaks over open fire, practicing. Why? Because I was going to Breckenridge to do the exact same thing, but it was going to be months later. It's like, well, I might as well practice and keep sharp now. There's too many ways to say one thing is definitive above the other, and reeling it back into the main point. Are you responsible for your audience? You cannot control their actions, but you are responsible for calling them out when they involve you and it goes against what you're trying to promote, but they're using your name to do it.
And Bradley Robinson on his Chud channel, I linked you to the video.
Yeah. And we'll drop that in the show notes.
He had to have a real tough conversation, and it's a little unfair to him that he had to go do that, but he also rose up to the moment and did what had to be done.
Yeah, it's true. It's not ideal, but it is part of what comes with all of what we do. You can't just want to have the only good parts of having that fandom or fan base or popularity and platform. You got to deal with the other stuff too.
Well, okay, I want to go back to, you were talking about the different cooking techniques. One thing you didn't mention, and that I've noticed, is sometimes the quality of the proteins dictate how you cook it too.
Yeah, let's shimmy into that because we've been talking about that a lot lately.
Yeah.
I had a cook the other day, grabbed some stuff from Publix. It was just trash meat. Like, what happened? Like, just a steady decline of proteins and the quality dropping. And you were talking about, some of the cases you'd have where some of these online content creators and pitmasters and chefs are doing, they're showcasing where you're just like, I don't know if everyone can get that access to meat. You want to let them know the example?
Well, no. So I would like to hear from listeners. Like, what are they paying? Say, let's just talk about prime commodity briskets. What are you paying at your local Costco or Sam's or your local butcher shop? Kroger, whatever grocery store you're at. Because it's completely different depending on where you are in the country. I know what I pay at a Costco, and I've talked to someone over in a rural part of South Carolina, and they're paying almost $1 more per pound for the exact same product.
What got me was the other day when I was in Costco, when we were talking,
Yeah.
they had prime briskets
Right.
for $3.99.
Right.
And then I went to Kroger right after, and they had choice briskets for $6.99.
Right.
And they looked horrible.
So yeah, I was just at a butcher shop yesterday. I was seeing if I could maybe buy cases from them, and they had prime cab briskets for $7.99 a pound. And I know that they're probably paying $5.25, $5.50 a pound for them. So they're not making a ton of money off of the
They're barely inching by.
Right.
And we'll come to that because I want to piggyback off that.
Yeah,
statement.
but like you go to Texas and you go to an HEB, you can get Snake River Farms Wagyu briskets in their grocery section. You can get, according to HEB, their prime briskets come from all local suppliers in Texas, where, if most of us, we go to a Costco or Sam's, we're getting it from one of the big four.
Yeah.
Like it's going to come from Swift, it's going to come from IBP, it's going to come from Excel. There are ones I know to avoid that I don't want to deal anything with.
Yes, and that's the smart.
But then there are ones that if I see, I immediately buy. If I can find a National Beef Prime brisket, I will trim a little. They leave them a little bit wide.
Yes.
But they're more uniform in size in terms of their points, not super fat. So there's not that huge band of fat in the middle that you have to try and render out. You're going to get a more uniform size. You're going to get a more uniform cook when you actually cook your brisket on the pit. I don't like Excel at all. I'll just go ahead and say it. Excel is trash. Sorry, Excel.
No, it's not. It's not the top ranked. It's not.
Yeah,
great.
but so I asked about getting like a case of Cab Prime, and I was quoted at like $5.50 a pound. And I was just talking to somebody over in Texas, and they were cooking those awesome Heart brand akuashis, and I think they were like $6 a pound. I'm like, there's a
huge taste and flavor difference and cook difference too.
Right.
And that's part of it that I don't think a lot of everyday consumers would recognize unless you're literally face to face with all these options almost on a daily basis like we are, where it's not just a visual difference, it is a cook difference, it is an end result taste difference, how it renders the texture. Choice isn't always bad.
No, dude, the Creekstone MasterChef Upper Two-Thirds Choice, those are better than like 90% of the commodity primes you could find.
Very true. The choice, we grabbed a choice tomahawk from Publix, and then we grabbed a set of choice tomahawks and ribeyes from Costco, just because we were doing some comparison stuff. And like I said, I got to practice at freezing cold, and the visual difference easy to see, the cook difference easy to see, the taste difference. Oh my God, the choice from Publix tasted like shoe leather. No matter what tricks I threw at it, just wasn't going to give. But the tomahawks choice Publix, Costco, great butter. It's just like, all right, and these are the things that I have to practice, and why everyone should just practice, because you never know. Sometimes you may request a certain quality for whenever you're going out, and you may not get it. You just may not. So you still have to have some sort of an idea what to do with that lower grade. And you mentioned a point that will segue ahead in what we wanted to talk about, but you said you were quoted about $5.50
right
for the box, and that they're probably not making a ton of margin on it, right?
Oh, I mean, on the $5.50, they're definitely not going to make a ton of margin off of me buying a case. They were at $8 a pound, I think, $7.99.
Yeah.
So even then, they're making, say they paid $5.25, they're making $2.75 a pound to carry that. It takes a ton of cooler space. They have to, pay for the retail space that they have. They have to pay for all the employees that are working there. Yeah. There's like a ton of overhead cost. So they need to sell a bulk of that meat to be able to even cover the cost.
You need to buy a pallet for it to be feasible, and sometimes you can work deals like that. So we'll do a quick little nugget. If you guys don't want to go to the big box and you're going to your local butchers, you can oftentimes score an even amazing deal if you prepay for a pallet. And if you can find a place to house it, or you just have enough requests, I learned that I think like my third year doing holiday caterings, because that's when I got Pearl and I had the room, and I realized, and I went to my butcher and I talked to him, and he's like, well, he had joked like, yeah, if you'd gone up out, it would have been this. And I said, give me a couple of days. And I made sure I could get enough pre-orders to fulfill a pallet. I was like, yeah, give me a pallet. And I just immediately increased my margins by 20% by doing that. Like, yeah, take it. Because then for them, all they're doing is holding it for a few hours and you're coming to get it and go. So they'll happily work those deals with you, almost giving it to you at cost. But on that mention, you know, people have been liking our barbecue stuff, but we've oftentimes talked about how sometimes we get a lot of flack all across the industry on like beef ribs,
Oh yeah.
where, oh, you know, you guys are killing us with these prices on beef ribs. You're probably making all this money, and nope. No,
Beef ribs are the least profitable meat that you can get at for a barbecue restaurant that you can get.
What would you say is? We'll start this off. Top 3 least profitable meats in a barbecue.
Beef ribs, brisket, basically anything beef.
Beef.
Beef ribs, brisket, depending on pork belly.
Okay.
I think pork belly is pretty up there. On turkey now.
Mine was gonna be beef ribs, turkey, brisket.
Yeah.
But it's weird that brisket is also still one of the most versatile meats if you are using everything correctly.
Right.
So I'll use a brisket and I'll trim it, save the trimmings, burgers or sausage. Hard fats, render down for tallow. Triple rend down for all the way down till it turns into a chicharron almost, and use that as a fire starter. Then sell the rest. So it just really depends on what stage and how much effort you're willing to put in to make sure you have the least amount of waste possible.
This is a good segue. So you were mentioning about like the yield on a brisket and how much you can get out.
Oh, we're gonna do some pitmaster
Well,
math?
no. Leroy and Lewis released a great video that was originally on their Patreon. Which, if you don't know, like the Leroy and Lewis Patreon, you can subscribe. I think it's like $30 a month. And the amount of information, like they basically just give all the recipes there and go over everything. Mm-hmm. But they had a whole video. And so I think it's after 2 years on the Patreon or after a year, they release it on YouTube. So this video is actually on YouTube. And they go through the entire brisket yield and how they use every single thing. Mm-hmm. And they go through, okay, well, this is what the brisket weighed pre-trim. This is what the brisket weighed after trim. This is what the brisket weighed after cook. Mm-hmm. Now, this is how much we got in burger scrap. This is how much we got in tallow. This is how much we got in tallow crispies that will add to another dish.
Yeah, those are my favorite. And for those of you listening, this is why I harp over and over. And if I were light-skinned, you could see me get blue in the face, but I'm not. But imagine it. Take notes. Doing that, especially the cats that have been asking us a lot of like our barbecue war stories and stuff that we have coming up. Take notes. Do these things. Measure it out, because you will get dialed in and you'll start to be able to look at your packs of brisket and know offhand how many servings you're going to get by looking at it. And this is really the difference. When you're doing this as a business, there's a huge profit difference between 3 to 5% and 5 to 10%. And if you're able to just invest a little bit more time and yield an extra 5 to 10% in your business when you're starting up, that makes a huge amount of difference, especially when gas is fluctuating. When we last recorded, gas up the street was $2.65. We're recording now. It's $3.39. Okay, you still have to go the same distance to these pop-ups, but it just costs you almost an extra $1 per gallon to get there. Hey, if you were doing a little bit more work and you made an extra 5% profit, it's like, okay, you're all right. So sorry to interrupt, but I just had a harp that, like, you know, everyone wants to know the tips and tricks to get these deals. Like, no, it's the fundamentals. It's the basics of really understanding the roots of the business.
Well, and speaking of which, I mean, Leroy and Lewis is having their annual, like, barbecue U. Yeah. They're doing 2 different weekends.
Cool.
It's 3 days. It's, I think it's $2,000 for all 3 days. Like, that's the cost. And then they feed you the entire time, too. But they basically go over their entire menu. Mm-hmm. And what, like, front to back, you're going to learn how they cook briskets, what they do with trim, how they prepare their whole hog, how they do sausage, everything. And so we'll have the links and dates in the show notes if you're interested. But when we're talking about like the classes before, they're out there. They're going to cost money, but a lot of times they are absolutely worth it.
Agreed. But that's the thing. We've talked about it. You have to be willing to invest if you're trying to get this, you know how many, hey, I just want to chop it up. Can we, let's talk. Let's hang out. I was like, I've got enough friends to hang out with. What do you want? Like, I keep my circle small and tiny. I'm not opposed to new people, but if you want info, just come be honest and don't beat around the bush. Don't fluff with me like, oh, no, you want information. Just lead with that. And sometimes that will help. I'll probably get you more info that way, you being direct, than trying to beat around the bush with me for a couple of days. I'm like, all right, this is going nowhere. Gone. But when you're wanting that type
outside of a handful of recipes, I've never seen you say, go away.
Yeah. Yeah, like
just don't ask about the chimichurri.
Yeah, it's never happened. You've been down so many years now, and he's watching me make it all the time. He's like, I still don't get it. I blink and I miss something. But no, you have to invest in learning this stuff. You really do. And I know we are on opposite sides versus apprenticeships, paid internships, all that jazz, and what have you. But you've got to make an investment, because if I could have paid $2,000 for a week or 4 days with Rodney or Brian or Pops, I couldn't write the check fast enough.
I mean, yeah, the $1,000 I spent on that Goldie's class is the best investment I ever made.
Because you're going to learn so much.
Yeah.
So much. Oh my God. And yeah, and you see cats, shout out to Hurtados, shout out to Anthony of Swig and Swine, one time for Whiskey Bent, Matt Pittman. They put on these.
Zavala's does one. Yeah, I'm wearing that Zavala's hat.
Zavala's, if you're listening, brother, can I get a hat in a big-headed people size? It's for Corey, not me. If we could do that, there's so much information to learn. It's hands down worth it. Just the minor things. And I told you, the information's free. I'll put it out there once again. I have a business of barbecue. It is 98 videos. I've made it every single day for 98 days. And if you watch that, I guarantee you'll get a huge leg up on what to do to grow your business, brand your business, market your brand, get better at the fundamentals, because it's the business stuff. It's all out there, guys. It is.
I mean, I got 2 years into it, and I'm still learning things. I mean, it's weird. I'm transitioning to where I have to rely on it as income, where it could have been considered more of a hobby before.
Yeah.
Even though I was doing it every other weekend, dedicating a ton of your life.
It's different when it's like, okay, we've got to do this. It's different where you see that difference between 3 to 5% and 10%. Yeah. And like I said, in all fair, we've talked. We've got some stuff coming that'll help mitigate some more of those costs. So that's the fun stuff. Let's go through this. You want to hit a question? You want to go to another news topic?
Let's go ahead and hit some questions, because we got a lot of them.
Oh, that's true. Yeah. Let's drop down here.
Can I ask the first one?
Go ahead and do your thing, man.
Because I think this is for you.
Oh.
So, B Sanko 27 asks, "How are you such a heartfelt, honest, and genuinely good person?"
I can't stand you.
I want to make sure that wasn't missed.
If you met my sisters, you'd understand. I don't really have a choice. It's not.
You're making up for them.
Yeah.
Oh, they're gonna hate me now.
They are. You are. Woo.
Brian said that.
Yes. Jess. I need you to know, Brian said that. We did not prompt him. She listens. She's always the moment it goes up, she's there. She's going.
I'm gonna be in hot water now.
Oh gosh, you don't know what you just did to yourself. I feel sorry for you. They liked you up until just now.
Look,
just now they would tell me all the time, but now, there's nothing we can. The littlest one called us when we were filming the other day and demanded Corey. She's like, "Corey's mine now." It's like, "What?" He's like, "Yes, I'm the captain. He works for me now." I was like, "What is going on?"
All right. Well, I got myself in hot water. We'll see how this turns out.
That's on you. I had nothing to do with it. Let's worry about. Let's see. This one, I highlighted it because I hadn't heard of this in a while, and it made me laugh because of the meme, that old Denzel meme. He's like, "I ain't boiled those ribs," but it's asked, "Is it best to boil pork ribs before putting them on a smoker?"
No. Okay, here's the thing.
Don't be so crass. Let's give them a full explanation and such.
One of my favorite spots They don't call themselves barbecue. They call themselves just the Rib Shack, Fat Matt's Rib Shack. They will tell you they boil ribs and finish them over the grill.
Yep.
And they're awesome ribs.
Yes, they are.
If you are looking to get a barbecue smoked rib, do not boil your ribs.
Very true. And you got to love that they tell you, hey, we're not saying it's barbecue. We're Rib Shack.
We're a Rib Shack. Like, we make delicious ribs. We make a good sauce. We boil our ribs and finish them on the grill. Yeah, it is a tried and true technique.
Yep.
If you're, totally use it for, like, if you got like a grill and you want to do it that way, awesome. If you're trying to get a smoked barbecue rib, it's not the way to go.
No, agreed. So let's a little back history on it. It used to just be a way when Rib Shacks and just restaurants, they didn't have the time really to let it fully render and smoke. It was turnover, things like that. That's when boiling it, because it expedited the process drastically, and a little bit more detail and a full set of spares. You're looking at about a 40 to 45 minute boil time before you can finish off within another 30 to 35 minutes on the grill.
Compared that to the 6 to 8 hours it would normally take.
Exactly. And we say 6 to 8 if you're doing the calculated 3-2-1 technique. That rounds you out at about 6.5, just shy of 7 hours.
Oh no, I'm not even talking about 3-2-1 technique.
Oh, you're just you're talking just open face.
Yeah, just open face. Yeah. 6 to, like, depending on the ribs, 6 to 8, depending on what temperature you're cooking. Me, like, me, a little hotter, 250, 275 on the ribs.
So it's used because someone out there may be listening like, why would you? Well, you would have done it so you could expedite the cooking process, get them tender, but still have that grilled smoky flavor. And the trippy part is a lot of your favorite, convenience barbecue, if you would, convenience grill places boil their ribs. I can, without a doubt, tell you, Roadhouse boils their ribs.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And when you look at the meat, you can oftentimes tell because it's like a gray matter looking meat inside, not white with a ring. And even if the ring isn't there, it's usually just a white coating. But when it's boiled up, it turns gray on you. That's how you can usually tell. And also when the bone just disintegrates in your hand, it's typically been boiled. But
because all the collagen and stuff has been cooked out.
Yeah. So it's not necessarily best. We just talked about it. Get down how you get down, but it was a technique used and still used for expediting the cook process and such. If you got the time, you got a barrel, hook it, hang it, smoke it, chill. But yeah, I like that one. You get
that
the
should
next.
Be a new T-shirt. Hook it, hang it, smoke it.
Let's put that in there. I'm sending you a text right now. You get the next one.
Do you want me to do the next one, or are you gonna hate me if I do? If I
feel
do
like
a certain
I'm gonna hate you anyway.
All right. Well, you kind of talked about this on your podcast. So, is it SG Gainey 97? 5K budget. He was looking at the Workhorse Pit 1975 trailer, or I'm missing a better option for the money.
I see you want to lead with violence today.
Oh no, there was another question that I think you would be more angry if I asked.
Oh Lord,
you're the one that put him in there.
Well, we're trying to make a whole process here. Make it a little easier for everybody.
Okay.
So I'm trying to set up a nice SOP for us to semi-succeed. So you lead this one. What were your thoughts? Because we spoke right after I put that my
right. Yeah.
Up.
So I think Workhorse pits are great. I think they're great for the cost.
Hands down. If they want to send us one for the studio, we put it like right over here.
Yeah. Shout out to JD.
Yeah.
And I use a Primitive Fit, so that's the sister of Workhorse Pits, sister company. So for 5K on a trailer, I don't know what is the Shirley trailer that's going to be a 24. I think that's a 24 by 72.
Yeah.
And so
you still got a little wiggle in the budget for a hip roof. Yeah.
So I think that's 150 gallon around 150,
125.
Yeah, somewhere in there.
Low end 125, high end like if Mr. Shirley or Paul's being extra generous, throw you a couple more.
Yeah. So the way that the Workhorse, the barrel, you were talking about getting the top rack.
Yes.
Just from experience cooking on a 24 by 60, that top rack, unless you're cooking chickens or ribs, is completely unusable in terms of space.
Agree. To some extent, and the reason why I say that is, if you're going to get it, I want you to get more real estate.
Right.
Because when you do bottom rack, and if you are, because he didn't say what he was cooking, but I'm thinking, okay, obviously he's trying to tow this around. He's probably going to be doing events.
Right.
And in our line of work, more real estate beats less real estate. And you can always switch up your menus. He may just get a gig that just requires ribs and chicken. Like, all right, cool. And he can, if I can double my output for the same cost,
Right.
cool. And have it being removable, so the grate's out. But I thought, in my head, like I think back to when Richard reached out, and he was getting his rig, and I was just saying, ideally in my head, here's everything I would know. You're going to grow, you're going to need the space, and you don't want to have to go buy another smoker because you're out of space. So I was just trying to optimize that 5K, make it stretch as far as possible.
I will say the way that a Shirley is built, like I don't do reverse flow, but you do get more cooking real estate with the way a Shirley is built with the reverse flow than you do from a straight offset.
True.
So yeah, like if it's let's say it's 24 by 60.
Yeah.
That first 15 to 20 inches, you're not cooking shit.
No, that's your sear plate. That's your sacrificial, that's your finisher if need be. Put your water pan, or if you got a really soaked thick split, put it there. But also, if you're going to go with Shirley and you are going to go top rack, it is definitely a good idea to go ahead and fork out. I think it's like an extra $100 or $150 or so. I can't remember. Don't quote me on pricing. To get the hip roof, because the hip roof then gets you another 4 inches of cooking space up top, so you get a little bit more room to fit something like a brisket.
Yeah. I mean, here's the thing is like, I think I spent $2,500 on my first one. This was back in like 2018, so prices were a little bit cheaper.
Yeah.
I thought I was buying something that I could grow into, and within 2 months, I was like, I screwed up.
Yep.
So if you're saying that you have a 5K budget, and if it's just a hobby and you're just trying to like maybe do some competition stuff, you're probably fine.
Yeah.
If you're trying to do this as a business and cook more, you will be severely limited by getting anything under than like a true 250 gallon.
Yes.
Like I think like if you're going for like pop-ups and stuff, the minimum you should get right off the bat, you should aim for a 250 or a 500. I will say that I got a kind of a crappy pit, and it made me a better cook.
Mm-hmm. And we've talked about this before.
Yeah, made me better at fire management. But if I had done more research and saved up more money, I probably would have gone with like a 250 primitive pit right off the bat and been happier and been able to do more pop-ups right off the bat, where I kind of had to limit what I could do because I was at max squeezing everything on the pit I had. It was like 4 briskets and 2 pork butts.
Yeah, and that's not a lot. That's not a lot at all.
And like 6 racks of ribs, 6 to 8. Like if I could really fit like 8 racks of ribs, but really it was like 6, and that was pushing it with a lot of rotation.
And that is it too. Like how much extra effort do you want? This is what I was saying. Just get that little extra space. You can double your output on certain things, But we could go. Geez, we need to start a whole podcast just on smokers, like just reviewing every single smoker.
I told you I had an idea for that.
Yeah, don't worry, we got fun stuff coming. I'll listen. Let's bounce back to a little bit of news, then we'll go back with some more. Anything on your docket, or you want me to run with mine?
Run with yours.
All right.
Yeah.
So. I want to give a few bits of shouts and updates. So Camp Chef has released their new Apex grill. It's got double P's on it, pellet and propane. And, however you feel, however you get down, this is a barbecue-focused podcast, and they do make grills for barbecuing. So you have versatile fuel options there. Check that out. I believe it is out and ready and available.
Yeah, well, the Hills will be happy.
Damn it, Bobby. I would love to them do a spinoff, and it's the same family, but the dad just sells pellets and pellet accessories.
that or he's like us, and he's a hardcore wood split guy.
When I know I'll make it if I ever get made fun of on The Simpsons. I don't care about a James Beard, a Michelin star, Barbecue Hall of Fame, none of that shit. I want to get made fun of on The Simpsons. That's when you've made it. You're in there for life. So that's when you get cartoonerized by The Simpsons, right?
I'll go for the South Park and just go for the scathing version.
There it is. But that would be a great comparison, like Hank Hill, like in King of the Hill, like a new neighbor comes in and he's just a he's towing a wood-fired pit behind him, and the neighborhood just always smells of hickory, and it starts like, hey, anyone listen out there that writes for that show? The aroma of the hickory irritates Hank's senses, so he can't sleep. So he always looks like he's crying.
that show's
so
been,
Bobby thinks he's sensitive.
That show's been done for a while, though. Sadly,
but it can come back.
Yeah,
You
good.
never know. They brought back Futurama after a while.
Say Netflix will buy something.
Exactly.
Well, I mean, Mike Judge did bring back Beavis and Butthead. He might bring back King of the Hill.
Yeah, they Futurama took a while and they came back. So that's how we open up the episode, guys. That's the season one. It's just a constant battle, and people are slowly leaving Hank's cookout to go to the neighbors because the food smells better. They're like, "What's that smell?" And Hank goes, "Oh, that's the clean smell of natural gas and propane." And what was the? It wasn't Boomhauer. It was his other friend.
I don't remember the other.
Gosh, the one with the wife that was cheating on him.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, that show was not for kids.
Oh, yeah, no, not at all.
Well, that friend is the one he'll go like, "No, it actually smells good," and he starts turning around and going to the neighbors like, "That smells like wood."
Boomhauer would be the person that would get into wood-fired cooking.
Yeah, the man talking about that fire, man. Long slow, baby. Long slow.
Right there, it's just going to be its own breakout.
It is. I'm perfectly fine with that. We'll call it Boomhauer Does Barbecue. Talking about flip ribs, man. Flip ribs, not whole life, man. Talking about long slow. No, I used to watch a lot of King of the Hill. It was a good show. So back to the topic, Camp Chef. Get it. Next up, one time for Black Rifle Coffee. I love when brands support other brands and help the community. And I've been talking about OBR, Operation Barbecue Relief, literally since the very first episode of This Week in Barbecue. If you guys aren't following them, go check them out. My man, 100 Grand, Stan Hayes, one of the founders. Absolutely amazing man. Absolutely. It's a pleasure to shake his hand. It's always great to hang out with him and roll smoke. I think we got some stuff going this year. But Black Rifle Coffee has donated to Camp OBR, which is now their like fixed base camp of operations. So if anything happens, it can just break out and disperse accordingly. Black Rifle Coffee got them all set up with coffee and accoutrements and stuff needed. Got to stay caffeinated and fueled for those rescue relief cooks. So good on them. We also have some news, a save the date from Mr. Dr. Howard Conyers. He is going to be putting on an event again, a cooking experience, unlike any other. And I say unlike any other because he's not repeating the exact hands-on demo class that he did last year, but it is taking place May 27th and 28th, and we will have that and additional info in the show notes. You look like you got something to say.
No.
Oh, all right, well, never mind.
No, I'm like... No, now you put me on this. I have to.
Now you have to say something.
No, now I have to go through and edit this out.
No, you got to leave it in there.
Well, no, I was just off in thought, man.
Oh, well, right on. Well, while you're off in thought, let me hit him with the barbecue shout-outs. One time for the one time, the king of Georgia barbecue, Mr. Bryan Furman. Bryan Furman Barbecue has now announced that they will be having Bryan Furman barbecue sausages. They're made from heritage hogs. They're not made from mass-produced pigs, which are oftentimes lean, don't have a ton of fat. And for more information, we'll have that info in the show notes. You can order them from them. I think, what was it, packs of 4 or 5?
Like it looked like packs of 4, and they talked about cheddar and Swiss.
Cheddar and Swiss type. So, and those are, I don't know if they're smoked. I think they're grill-offs, but
yeah,
like I said, check the link, go get it, go support the man. Go get his rubs. They're great as well. All amazing AP rubs. That's short for all-purpose stuff. So check it out. I also have to give a semi-selfish barbecue shout-out. We've talked about this young man, Evan W., the Gladiator Barbecue. I was immensely impressed with him. I think Corey and I and Pops and everyone last year over in Vancouver were impressed by this young man who was smashing the competition of cats 2, 3, 4 times his age. When I met Evan, he was 15. I believe he's 16 now. And he he took up the 20 or less challenge, and he did a series of videos showing him going out trying to do the $20 recipe challenge. If you guys haven't checked out my challenge, I'll have my challenge and Evan's response to it in the show notes. But he went to the store. He bought ingredients. He immediately went over and realized, okay, I got to go put some stuff back. And he got really creative. He did some really, really good stuff. I was very impressed. I was humbled. I'm not saying I was cutting onions, but I might have been cutting onions. But I was very humbled by the video series and just to see it. And there's been so many people. Beat Down Barbecue, Falcon, I appreciate it. Like, so many have been tagging and trying it. Different cooks of all stages all over have been, and they're realizing it's a good exercise. I'm not doing this to say, oh, and it's impossible or whatever. No, this is a culinary exercise. Flex your skill, try to think differently. I did have someone say, oh, you can only do this in the South, and frankly, I took that personally. So I am going to coordinate and talk with the guys who make me look like I know what I'm doing. We're going to hit the road. And every city we go in, I'm going to pop into a store with a crisp $20 bill. I'm going to make it do what it do. Someone said you can't do this in New York. I was like, you are mistaken.
What was the first video I sent you?
Yeah. The one guy did it for like $14. He had change over. And he made, but he made one serving. So my thing is, it has to make at least 2 to 3 servings. You
could have gotten like 2 servings out of that, I think.
Maybe I'm a big guy, but either which way, I'm not knocking him. He did it, but yeah.
Well, he also, I'm not gonna lie, like there is a benefit to bodega shopping when you can buy like $2.50 or something.
Yeah, because for those who are like, how did he have change left over? He was in a bodega where they weigh the spices, so he literally got like 43 cents a curry, 12 cents of salt, that type of stuff. Like, it was a weighed shop. So you can do it. You just have to be creative. And like I said, it was just a fun challenge. It's a fun exercise. That's all it is, guys. Don't take barbecue too seriously. You'll end up using pellets.
Could we maybe send $20 and a shopping list to other people that we know across the country?
Oh. Well, I don't know if we can send them a shopping list. Maybe we just send them a 20.
A shopping list, but send them a 20 and like challenge people basically.
All right, so how about that?
We'll front the $20.
How about this? How many 20s do we got here? All right, we got 20 20s. Who wants to participate in the $20 challenge? The first 20 people to comment on this video, we'll respond. Email us your address. I will mail you a $20 bill.
You can just Venmo it to them.
No, I don't want all that information because because you can't hold up the Venmo and all that. It's just there's just something about it, Chris. I had a gym coach in high school. He's like, always carry cash with you because they can't trace it.
What was he doing?
I don't know, but he always kept a fat stack. So the first 20 people to comment on this video and send us your address, we'll respond because you got a comment. And the weird thing is, we'll know because we're kind of far into it now. But the first 20 people who comment on the video on YouTube, not on Instagram, making that perfectly clear. On YouTube, I'm going to reach out. Well, I'm not. I'm going to have Corey do that. And we're going to mail you a $20 bill, and you're going to partake in the $20 challenge. And you'll send us your results, and we'll post them.
Oh, well, we need a picture of the receipt.
Yep.
And we need a picture of the dish you made and how many servings it had.
Exactly.
We almost need to pick a prize winner and send a prize pack to.
Huh? What would you do?
We'll get there.
Yeah, I mean, we'll discuss it afterwards. But yeah. I think we make it more for them.
There'll be a nice little prize in there.
Yeah.
I'll definitely make it worth your while. Plus, you're getting a free 20 in a meal. So what are you going to do? You're going to complain. So we'll put that out there. I like that.
And then maybe if you send in footage.
Ooh.
Maybe we make a compilation video on YouTube of it.
Yeah, if you do the challenge, you're entered. But so let's do this. Winner gets $500. Let's do that. So the winner, if you get entered. So if all 20 people enter, you each have one shot. But if you make a video, that counts as 2 additional entries. So 1 for doing it, then make a video gets you 2 more. So you got 3 chances of going in there. And how we're going to do it? Write everyone's name on a piece of paper, put it in a PVC hat, and we'll just pick the name that way. So,
yeah, but you got to send the receipt. You got to send the bare minimum is you got to send a picture of the receipt and you got to send a picture of the meal you cooked.
Yeah. Remember, can't have anything on the plate that was not on the receipt because I had so many people reach out, man, that was easy. I went and I got a chicken in the back. It's like, yeah, but I saw one guy was like, bro, where did asparagus come from? It's like, I had it at home. Tell me you don't listen without telling me you don't listen. But let's keep it moving. Let's hit another question, shall we?
Sounds good to me.
All right. So I thought this was a really interesting one. We have seasons for fruit and veggies. Are there seasons for meat?
I mean, the easy answer is yes, especially with seafood.
Yeah.
There's definitely seasonal seafood. Like if you want to get really good soft shell crab, there is a season for that.
Okay.
There's a season for shrimp. There's a season for pretty much everything. Seasons for meat, there probably should be, but it's more of like hunting seasons I can think of, like with deer, venison, or duck, or like boar, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Growing up in the South, you're really familiar with like when you're going to have deer in the freezer.
Yes. So I also thought of it as just like seasonality of throughout the year, and obviously meat, holidays, Thanksgiving, turkey, usually Christmas, roast, New Year's, usually a lot of ham, stuff like that. But also throughout the like spring months, it's a little bit lighter type, little hot dog burgers type of things. I find summers when people are really like grilling out their chickens and their ribs and stuff like that. So that seasonality of it as well. But when you're in it, you're rolling that stuff year round, you know?
Right.
But I thought that was a fun question. I've never been asked that one before. But yes, there are seasons for different meats, and the seasons change depending on your region and your location and all of that. There's just some stuff that's more easily and readily available different times of year at certain parts of the planet than they're going to be here. So.
Yeah, I think we're spoiled in that we have access to even produce. Like we shouldn't have access to avocados year round.
No,
we shouldn't have access to tomatoes year round. There's a reason why I don't make a BLT until a certain time of year.
Yeah, because you do. That's us, trying to participate to do our part to sustainability type of thing.
Well, not only that, but you're not going to get a good tomato in December.
Perfect. Next question. What kind of meat thermometer do you use?
I'm a Thermapen guy.
You really?
Yeah, like Thermapen. Like I think they're awesome.
No,
like,
they're good.
Yeah, I don't have an affiliate code. I don't have anything that's sponsored by them anyway. I got a Thermapen, and it's that Inserene Thermapen thermometer, especially if you can get it on sale for like what? Sometimes they go down to like $60-$70.
Yeah.
Totally worth the cost.
I got one in a prize pack once, so I think I got it in Connecticut.
Yeah.
Like, oh, that's kind of cool.
But like it's a completely different use case for me on what a Thermapen is useful for.
Yeah.
Like
break it down for us.
Well, especially like if you're doing commercial kitchen, because you can use a Thermapen to like see how hot some oil is real quick. You can use a Thermapen to check just basically everything in terms of temperature right off the bat for kind of mass cooking. Now, do you still have a sponsorship with Meter?
Nope.
No. Okay, so we can talk about the Meter thermometer, the Bluetooth adapter, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so I think
even if we did, you really underestimate my level of don't give a fuck.
All right, well, okay. Hey, I didn't have to say it this time.
We told them what we thought about them.
Yeah.
When we were with them.
Yeah.
So,
Okay, so I mean, what are your
care.
pros and cons on like? Because I've never used one.
It's definitely has its place and has its use, and we did a lot of tests back and forth, like who is better, and I haven't lost.
on that note, I will say also with other shoots,
Yeah.
with Tom mainly,
Yeah. Kalikia.
he questioned them as well.
Yeah.
And same thing. He was like, I know this. I know I've got to do what it's not telling me to do right
Yeah, because that's the thing, and that was what we were. So people would be wondering, like, if you have a Traeger, you are supported by Sheet. That's why I can have fun and talk about everything, because a lot of people don't know some of the data and information that is part of the new Traeger line, and in the thermometers are data and information that have been recorded and inputted by my cooks and stuff like that. And we were out doing one in LA in the outdoor studio, and it was saying to do a thing, and I said, no, it's not ready. And they're like, how do you know? I said, because it's only reading what you're giving it. It doesn't realize the ambient temperature and moisture out here, because it was a cooler day, actually. So it's like if you pull that now, that carryover is going to vanish and it's not going to go how you think it is. It's as good of a tool as you're willing to implement it and learn how to use it in conditions. It definitely has a huge convenience factor, but to me, there were certain things that I wanted it to do. If I were to like make my ultimate wireless one, first off, is definitely one of the best or better wireless thermometer meat probes out there. I've used them all, and that is actually one of the better ones. I wish it didn't leave such a huge gaping hole just for presentation purposes, because you can't ever use that for a photo print, and when they do, you Photoshop over it. Secondly, I wish it could withstand high temperatures, but something like that isn't meant for open fire high heat cooking. And if you are doing open fire high heat cooking, you sort of know what you're doing already. But that's how I got down. I can't tell you how many I cracked, doing, flame overs and different stuff like that. But that was because it wasn't designed for it. If they could get that casing a little tighter, I'd have a ball. I really would. But for those who are getting in, for those who don't feel quite comfortable with their cooking and such like that, I definitely recommend it, because let's say it's your first time out, you're the lady of the house, you're over there trying to make your first Thanksgiving meal for your boo, your family, whatever, and you don't want to be propping that oven open time and time again. Those wired ones often bothered me because I'd pinch the wires or they'd just fray or snap. I'm like, all right, well, that's not going to work. But having something like that reads, it lets you know, and you can go down to like dinosaur meat hilariously for what you're wanting to cook and input it, definitely worth it. It is. But I get down. I've got a couple of ThermoPens.
By the way, I said ThermoPro, it's ThermoWorks. Yeah, so
because ThermoPro is a different brand.
Yeah, ThermoPro is a different brand that you can get. Yeah,
brand.
it's a cheaper thing that you can get off Amazon, and I've definitely used those. Those are good if you're kind of on a budget. Mm-hmm. If you can just afford the ThermoWorks ThermoPen, I think it's like a ThermoPen as an all-around tool, because you can use it for so much more than just meat.
Oh yeah, it's a great one to just have. I think next episode I'm gonna put in the notes, but next episode we'll do barbecue / open fire must-haves. So we'll drop that in there for the next one. But yeah, that's my take on it. It's not bad. Use it, but sometimes it's hard to beat these guys.
Right. I mean, like even with the ThermoPen, I'm looking for a temperature range, and then I'm looking for feel. Like I'm not just looking. Oh, hey, this is reading the temperature I need to do it. Now I need to feel if it's in the right thing, because like a brisket could be reading 202, 203. Yeah. And the point's just not ready yet. Yes,
and that's why it's like it's a suggestion. It's not a definitive. Like, come on, guys, it's just one of those things. We got time for one more. You picked the last one.
Can I ask one question in between?
Yeah, do you go
way back to our brisket talk at the beginning of the podcast?
Mm-hmm.
What is, and this is for each of you, your favorite brisket to cook from where and why?
Lead the way, my friend.
Okay, so this is weird. I just came from cooking a ton of Creekstone MasterChef choices, and the way you could cook those at Goldie's was, and I came back and immediately tried the Goldie's cooking technique on a bunch of commodity primes, and it wasn't the same. Like building the fire the same, keeping the temperature the same, just the way the fat was. And this is the thing, is like when these pit masters and the people that are working in these restaurants, they're cooking the same proteins every single time. They know very well in detail how the fat's going to render, how they're going to cook, compared to what you can get from a Costco. So like I said, we were talking about this in the beginning. If I'm like, since I have to rely on Costco because, I'm not ordering 18 cases, so a lot of suppliers don't want to deal with me.
Yeah.
That's a whole nother topic.
We'll save it for next episode.
Yeah. If I can find a National Beef or an unmarked cab prime at a Costco or Sam's, those are two of my ideal choices. From there, it goes IBP, Swift, and bottom of the barrels Excel. I don't want anything to do with Excel. I don't care if it's prime. I don't care if it's a CAB Excel. I don't want anything to do with them.
No, I'm with you.
What's your number one?
I mean, that's what I'm saying. National Beef.
National Beef.
Yeah. National Beef Prime, if I can find it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Makes amazing tallow.
Yeah. And just they have a really uniform shape compared to a lot of the other packers. I'm going to get a more consistently sized brisket from a national beef brisket than I am, say, even like a IBP or Swift.
I'm spoiled, and I think it's more of just like a memory type thing and just a wonderful experience type thing. But I love the Snake River Farms.
I mean, the best brisket I've ever cooked is a Snake River Farms.
I remember
Gold.
you had that one special request.
Well, I've done it like 3 times for him.
No,
Yeah,
nice.
yeah. So like anytime he's doing something, he's like, go ahead and get the Snake River Farms.
Yeah,
and he
that
always
was
asks me, he's
good.
like, did you try? It's like, no, because you're paying for
Yeah.
it. Like you're gonna get all of this.
No, it's they're just one of my favorites. One, it's the quality meat, but 2, it's the customer service too. I get down like that. I like how much they actually genuinely care and participate and respond and stuff like that. But the end quality meat is just, and this isn't an ad thing. They're just really, really, really good. And we cooked up a bunch of Snake River last week, and I was just like, yeah, they just don't miss. They just don't miss. So that's my top. I'm with you. Excel's at the bottom. Smithfield and everything in between. Obviously, Snake River isn't an everyday cook or one that's going to be done at pop-ups. Those prices would be astronomical. But it's my top. My top. If I'm doing a personal, like private, maybe this year's retreat, I'll probably do one. Then it's definitely going to be a Snake River.
I'd love to get my hands on a heart brand beef akuashi and cook that.
Yeah.
But
Budget's permitting.
yeah, well, no, not budget's permitting, but they don't even sell them out here. Like,
Well, you can get everything shipped.
I know, but I'm not going to pay
Hence why I said.
I'm not going to pay
permitting.
I'm not going to pay $140 for like a single ship brisket.
That's-
No, I was trying to see like how much a case would be. Like, they don't have any like local suppliers out in Georgia.
Gotta fix that. But no, this was a solid one, don't you think?
Yeah,
I'm good with it. There was a few others, but we'll roll those questions over for next week. There were some really good ones.
we probably just need to set aside a
Whole episode just for Q&A.
no. I'm talking about the pop-up war stories.
Oh gosh, yeah. We wanted to touch on that, but
and tips and tricks, because we got a lot of feedback about people, because there aren't a lot of resources on how to do a barbecue pop-up.
there are not. Maybe the 2 guys should do that.
Yeah, that, or you go ask a pit master and like, from somewhere and annoy him.
Yeah,
But usually they'll talk to you.
it is. But don't come empty-handed. Bring bourbon.
Bring bourbon.
At least be generous. But this has been another amazing episode of This Week in Barbecue, and I can say amazing because I'm slightly biased because it's our face on the front of the cover of everything. And my name is Rasheed Phillips, and joining me as always is my wonderful bearded host,
Brian Hull.
We hope you guys enjoyed the show. Make sure to like, subscribe, share, tell a friend to tell 2 friends, and as always, be good to one another.
Hey.